Okay, so to my audience, I know I have been speaking out about my personal grooming experience with Gray. Not only that, but other people's grooming experience with Gray, and I provided the proof of that in my previous video. However, there are more victims than Gray likes to let on. Because I was right about all of this stemming back 5, 6 years ago, because she has been doing this behavior ever since the start of her channel and ever since she set up her Discord server. Because I'm actually here today with two of her other victims that were actually part of her mod staff in her Discord mod staff in, what is it, 2021. Because, again, I'll reiterate, most of her Discord mod staff back then actually consisted of minors. And I have brought them here today to share their side of things with Gray and to show that it's not just me being crazy or whatever. This is the exact behavior Gray does towards minors and will continue to do towards minors and affect them. So, if y'all would like to introduce yourselves.
Hello, Uni. Long time no see.
Yeah. So if you could just,
Introduce yourself.
yeah, if you guys could just introduce yourselves for the record.
Will you go first? I need to think of what I'm saying.
All right, I'll go first. So I'm Tristano. Although a lot of people who may have known me who will be watching this video will know me as either Tristan or Tristan Games because those were the aliases that I went by back when I was close with Gray and in the mod team. I met Gray back when I was 13 initially, but I met her before the server was even created. I met Gray back like at the very early times of her channel through Gmail. Uh, I commented I it from what I can remember, thanks to screenshots that I found. I saw Gray chatting in one of the Sonic VR Chat YouTubers live streams. I believe it was the Jules Shadow and Darkbox Sonic guys. They were doing a live stream, and I think I saw Gray asking them if they could collab or something. And I saw that it was like Fleetway Supersonic talking in the chat. I was like, oh, cool. Fleetway Supersonic. Maybe they have a cool channel if they want to collab. Maybe it's another character channel since I like these channels so much. I'll talk to this. I'll go check out this one. Um, I found the channel entertaining at first, and since I was like so young, I would like to comment on some of the videos, especially since like I wasn't expecting that kind of a take on the character's voice, since it sounded a lot more feminine. Um, so, but I did like the different interpretation of it. After a bit, Gray ended up noticing some of my comments and replied back to me as she normally does with a lot of her comments. And we started talking a little, but then not too long into chatting with each other through YouTube comments, Gray asked to if there was like any other place that we could talk, like move this to. Um, and I didn't really have social media at the time because I was like 13 and my parents were very iffy on it at the time. And I wasn't really I did technically have a Discord account at the time, but my parents weren't really okay with it because I was really only using it for to talk to a friend of mine who I wasn't even friends with anymore at the time. Um, and so said that I do have an email if that's at all possible because back then Gmail had a messaging feature where you could basically text with each other as long as you just had each other's emails. That is since like I think has been deleted because I can't find like any records of it, but I could try to like look it up through this, like while we're doing this,
Yeah, like,
see if like
I don't
I
know.
am correct.
I don't know, like Google like tends to delete a lot of their old features, so I don't
Yeah,
blame you if you can't
but
find
I
it. Okay, hi. So future ask your months later. I'm just gonna cut this section into. It turns out we did find the chat logs.
It was just behind Google Chat apparently. I just didn't do the research of where it was until like right this instant, but apparently the entire conversation between me and Gray when I was like 13 is just all here. This is all before the server was ever created. Um this was just like near the start of Gray's like original channel. So, throughout all of
Yeah.
this I was 13.
Yeah.
Okay. So, it started at a later date than I thought. I don't know. Again, I can't see the comments on the original video because that's like deleted. And as far as we know, there's not really a way to like archive comments.
Yeah.
So I don't know when my comment and all that stuff was happening. I know that the video was apparently uploaded like sometime in late March, but this is like in April at some point, April 9th. Um, so I guess maybe the comments just took a while, and then eventually we later chatted. So we exchanged emails in the comment section of her, I believe was the uh Fleetway reacting to Sonic and Tails playing Bendy and the Ink Machine, um, which was like her fourth video if I remember correctly. And I commented on it. She saw my comments, and then we started having back and forth in the replies, and then she asked me if there was any way that we could talk more, and I didn't really have any social media, so I said, well, maybe emails will work. And so that's how this happened. So the Let's Chat on Hangouts was just like me starting up the conversation. And so now we can get all into this. As you can see, it's the very like, hey, there you are stuff, like very energetic stuff. She was quick to introduce herself, and just established that like Fleet and her are two different people apparently.
He is drawing
So
and chilling right now. I'm the house owner, bro.
yeah, like literally 6 messages in, and she's already doing this shit. Like already doing this parasocial shit. Like, girl.
Completely LARPing 6 messages. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just we're already pulling the Fleetway is a real person card. Like
Oh my
I
god.
just met.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then she ended up looking at my channel, which I had to explain this, I have like a short on my channel where it's like my grandma's cat, just playing around. So, just immediately brought that up. And then here we go. So very, very right into us meeting. Like literally, hold on, let's check the minutes. So like, okay, 5 minutes into talking, she asked how old I am. So, and I say I'm 13, and she has no complaints with that. She sees that I'm 13 and decides, it'd be a great idea to continue having a conversation with this person that I am literally over twice as old as.
Yeah.
Mind you, she is fucking 28 at the time of this.
Yeah.
And I can prove that because right here, I ask how old she is, and boom. And she even makes a joke of FBI open up. Girl, you
Bruh.
see it's a problem. Why are you making jokes of it? This is not
Oh
okay.
my god.
She's trying to hide it through jokes and stuff to make me like just not care about it too much. And you will see that plenty in this conversation. She tries to just like be like, "Oh, I'm not a predator. If I was, I would have been doing this, this, and that. And you should be looking out for this, this, and that. I'm just making sure to look out for you. Don't worry." Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, it's not like Predator doesn't immediately. Predator waits for the right moment to exploit child. That's really.
Yep, and she was just, it's just, oh my god. So yeah, we get into conversations about the channel, and if I remember correctly, I don't know if this was put in the last video, but I did have a screenshot, that I did manage to have saved at some point
Oh yeah.
of this exact little bit here of how did you find the channel, by the way, and I said how I found it. So this little bit does match up exactly with that previous screenshot. So this is how you know the exact same conversation that we had, and we can confirm this is the exact same email that Gray has. So before anyone tries calling this fake or AI, no, this is very real. Um, so then there's all this again, talking more about the channel and stuff to do. Um, and of course, I was just really excited to see like one of the Sonic character channels talking to me. So I was like getting all excited and stuff. And then of course there was the whole thing about they probably want a guy's voice, that whole debacle and stuff. And then the pronouns here. Then all that. Yep. Oh, and then like okay, yeah. There's not really much to say here. It's just a lot of like talking about the channel, but that's really all. We'll get into like the real egregious stuff later.
Me and
So then
Lee are
she's
writing an A. Oh my.
but yeah, as you can tell, there's pretty much throughout this entire conversation, she keeps treating Fleetway like he is a completely separate person. Like, we go by he, she, they, them, and then there's just a lot of that throughout this entire conversation of her just treating Fleetway like he's a whole real ass person in the room with her. So then she was introducing me to this like Sonic AU she's got going on. I remember it's Deliverance because of like Evanescence, that song. Um, there's this fuck ass drawing of Demon Sonic. Um,
I was hitting the Peter Griffin.
no, Peter
I'm sorry.
Griffin Jones.
I'm sorry. I usually don't bash on people's art, but why is he hitting the Peter?
Why is he hitting that shit though? Uh, and then of course there was an Amy Rose version. Um, Then just some conversations about all that. And then, well, I had to go eat dinner actually.
Will be here.
And
Oh.
yeah, we'll be here. So she was actively waiting for me to get back from eating dinner. And so here's where the call happened. Um, Here is where the call started at 8:13, and as you can see, like about an hour later, there's this video that gets posted. That was in the middle of the call. Like she was introducing me to this like song because it was part of the whole like uh conversation about the AU, and I'm pretty sure I already explained plenty of the call in the previous interview. I Again, I can't really say much because this was so long ago. This was literally like 6 years ago. I can barely remember what was happening in that call. Um, but yeah, I just remember that at some point she did say something along the lines of, I don't know what the exact wording was, but she did refer to me as mature for my age at
Bro.
some point. Again, take that with a grain of salt. It's really just testimony because I don't have any physical proof because again, it was all on the call and this video is the only thing that was posted during that call. So
Yeah.
I don't got anything.
I mean, not the first time it happened.
Yeah, definitely not. And you will see some very concerning patterns popping up right after this because after this call, shit started hitting the fan because how this call ended was my parents ended up overhearing me talking with Gray here and they knocked on my door, checked in to see what was going on and I was 13. I was still, I wasn't manipulated against my parents, so I was still thinking that hey, they're cool, they're trustworthy. I can tell them about this complete stranger that I'm talking to and their age, their like actual age. And safe to say, like good parents, they were not okay with that and immediately got me to leave the call. And so yeah, and as you can see, no follow-up messages. But there were a lot of follow-up messages from Gray because she would very often text and try to get back into conversations with me after all that. Despite all that. Um, and so, I was so to explain how I was able to talk again, this was at a time where like this was when COVID was at its biggest. So, schools had shut down. So I was just really doing a lot of online work. So I was on the computer a lot. So I would end up having that time to talk to Gray during those moments. And now things are gonna get a little bit creepy, as if they haven't
Oh,
been
what the
already.
fuck? Your parents just
So
being protective. It's why the other day I made myself sound like a little kid about your. That is predatory. What the fuck?
yeah, so it's gonna get worse. It's gonna
Oh.
continue because then I tell them about uh her actual age, and then yeah, they did not like that very much. And then um hey, let's look at this real quick.
I hate
I
that
hate
you
the
sneak
Go
off
ahead.
this, but yeah, it's a bit much. Definitely should have said I was 16.
Yeah. She wanted to pretend that she was 16. I guarantee you my parents still would not have been okay with that because that is a full-on teenager talking to someone who is still in middle school.
Oh.
But she wanted to hide her age, like going half of her fucking age to continue talking to me. Um and then, she was talking about like Mistia and again her and Fleet like he's a whole separate person. Um and then here we go. Just here you go. Just all that. That's This message is just
If I was one of those people, I already sent you what predators do, and it's for them to.
yeah. So that's so this is very much conditioning me to not think that she is one of these people because if she's warning me about it, then why would she be one?
Yeah.
But fun fact, oh my god, I just don't even have words for this. Like, oh my god. And then she just goes like, "No, not at all. If it helps you, you should look up the traits of a predator. I would have found traits from you very quickly." Well, probably not, but like, you know. Because the thing is, she asked me to say this because I wouldn't have really seen much because this person is trying to protect me from people like that. And I'm 13, I don't know much better, so I wouldn't think too much of all of this. So even if I looked at the traits of a predator, I would think, oh, this doesn't match up all that much. So this person must not be a predator.
Yeah.
And and then if anything, I am just as protective as a parental figure. You have barely known me at all. I am a random 13-year-old kid on the internet, and you're already being super parental. And then, there's just all this right here. Like,
If I do sound like overly caring, because that's how I am, and it's not meant romantic. It's me, friend. You told a 14-year-old
just
wrap his.
yep. And just should my parents know I have seen your face? Oh my god.
Jeopardy
I
Jeopardy board. For 500
I
is the
forgot.
channel psyched to go.
Yeah. Oh my god, I completely forgot. During the entire conversation, she actually showed, like, she turned on her camera and showed me her face and stuff like that, and started talking to me while
Oh,
she had her camera on.
oh my.
I I don't know if she got me to do the same as well, but might have. I don't know fully, but yeah, here's your proof that that happened.
Oh my.
Oh, and then and then she talks about this like going about when she says this she means like publicly on the channel, so but just a very weird thing to say. Just I haven't shown my face yet, I don't think. Just like mm. Yeah, again, I'm 13 at the time. And then again, more Fleet is a whole separate person. This is weird. Yep, like oh my god. Just and apparently there's all this. So, here's the confirmation of how old her Fleetway is. He is 17 with the mind of a 20-year-old.
Oh my god,
So,
she made him mature for his age.
yep,
Oh.
she made Fleetway mature for his age, and then he's supposed to be 17 in her mind, yet she was perfectly comfortable making a video such as that.
Now it's just because he was 17.
Yep, back then he was always 17. All the time he
Oh
was
my
17.
god.
And then she tried to give me this whole thing of
Like,
with the mind of a 20-year-old. Like if the audio just happened to like be coerced into happening, sure, but like apparently the visuals were made separately. So w- why were you were according to Multi d- she gave permission for those visuals to be made. The the audio and stuff, sure, that could definitely get the benefit of the doubt that maybe that was all coerced. Like she
I
didn't
mean,
really want to make the joke, but like, but the visuals, you had the say in that. You
I
could
mean,
have just said no
no,
and no uploading it.
I know, but like, she was laughing in that audio, so I think so.
Yeah, like she was finding that shit
And like,
humorous. So
before,
I struggle to see if. And then apparently she found out that one of her fans was also 10.
oh my,
I'm concerned how she found that out.
bro.
But let's just hope for the best and hope that it was in the comment section. Again, can't tell. So we're just gonna hope for the best with that one. And then here we're okay if someone is like 13, but we recommend 14 or over. Um, yeah, wait a couple years, and then moving on to like a normal conversation.
I forgot COVID was.
Yeah, I almost forgot. And wow, these sure were times. Let's see. Yeah, all that. Talking more about the channel. Uh, and see, she even got me into this because look at me. I'm asking how she and Fleetway are. She got me into this shit right away. And then this is about Schiller Ria, I think that's the name. Yeah, her talking about the art that she would often commission for them. Um, you know, all that. As you can see, I was not all too talkative. I don't think that was really a me being uncomfortable at the time sort of thing. I was just, I'm just not a very talkative person, especially in text, and it was even worse back then when I was like 13. And, I was just letting her yap because, this is a grown ass woman. So, and I was
Yeah.
13. So, uh, and she was just going off. Like, look at all this. Like, this is all happening, like constant. These are like constant conversations happening. Oh, and another thing she would often do is just like send so many goddamn memes just nowhere. Like even outside of this conversation, like in this conversation a lot, but just outside of it, she would just do it so much, especially in that group chat. Like, oh my god, grown ass woman, by the way. Oh, and then getting to the Sonata bit. Uh, yeah, died. So at the time, I was 13. I was pretty immature. Um, and unfortunately, I was deep into like Sonic shipping and was not really much of a fan of Sonato. Nowadays, I don't really care about any ships, but back then I was a firm hater of it. So,
Okay, let me ask Fleet to leave me.
Yeah, like why do you have to ask him to leave? Like, I guess like because you don't want him hearing about a ship with Sonic because that's technically him. But like, girl,
I mean,
like, just again more with the whole fleet is a whole separate person kind of thing. Like, okay,
oh
um,
my,
so then we get into like her, us having like a back and forth of her loving Sonata, me kind of being a massive hater of it because again, I was 13 at the time, very immature, didn't really know how to have like class with things, and I was very direct with a lot of shit. So I was kind of an asshole back then. So definitely not proud of who I was back then.
Yeah.
I can definitely say I've gotten better with like, talking to people and not and understanding their point of views and stuff. Um then there'd be all this. She would tell me about like how Sonata would be like incorporated into her story, kind of, not as a like full relationship, but
Oh my
Um
god.
oh, and then she would get into this. So seeing me not really like Sonata too much, she would be like all like this. Just
I just have more insight when it comes to relationships, and because I being gone through it all my life.
yeah, and then you'll know what I mean when you get older. Like,
Oh.
just uh, girl, I'm 13.
Okay,
Why are you talking to me
so
like
she
this?
does understand the difference between a relationship and a friend attraction. She's just fucking pretending she doesn't.
Yeah, and yeah, and then there's all this, and then if we ignore that, that was all like back in 22. Oh well, so moving on. Guess how fast it took her to introduce this goddamn bleach ship she loves so much.
Oh my god, the fucking
She was
the
on this shit
fucking
so
crochet.
fast. Like, oh my god, she was so quick to get into this. Like, oh my
Dude.
god. It's just my OTP. Like, oh my god. I have not seen a single bit of the show. And look at her posting all these goddamn shorts, these goddamn memes about it. And it's just like, I just, she really
Uh,
cannot stop talking about it, huh? This pro ship.
oh my
Mmm.
god.
And then she would ask me for insight on the channel at some points. There's all this, some more arts showing off. Oh yeah, I think this was before they had the like official icon that you see nowadays, I think. Um,
Yeah.
uh, oh, and then yeah, this whenever you have chances to chat, take them and then heart.
Uh,
Um, But you see, even when I wasn't really available and was focusing more on like, I had schoolwork to do because I just got struck with COVID and I'd been locked down. So, I was focusing a lot more on schoolwork. But she wasn't really having all that because, she would be like, "Hey." Yeah, of course I wasn't really available. And then I responded like way later. And then here we go. Here we go.
oh.
She was so quick to call me dearie.
Like, again, not grooming by itself, but when you pick the fact she said, um, don't take it the wrong ways, but
Basically
basically,
just
I was
trying
just
to
trying to
question whether if I was
the.
attracted to kids or not.
And if you say that shit, of course it's fucking.
Yeah, when you take the context of literally everything, it does not look good. And again, she got me on the goddamn Fleetway being a separate person. I miss you and Fleetway too. Like, buddy, I am 13 at the time. She is 28. I should not be missing talking to a 28-year-old like this. Hmm. Um, oh, and then of course she would ask like, when I get the chat, and then yeah, here we go. She'd be like, I understand it's parents being parents, but we will not hurt you, heart.
Oh
And
my
then if we were
god.
to do something, it would have happened already. So,
Oh
just
my god.
just more conditioning. And then again, she would hit me with the pet names again with honey.
Please don't call me.
Yeah, censor the name. But like, good on 13-year-old me for standing my ground and being like, hey, I'm not comfortable with those terms. Please just call me by my name.
Yeah, I just
So
realized had like the message switch up since that.
yeah, and of course the whole I may be older, but I'm a big kid at heart, like, mm. And yeah, I then told her that it makes me feel weird, and then she would try to make it just she would try to like lessen how weird it is by just doing saying stuff like this. Like, it's just terms from endearment. Like, people use these words for someone they care about. Girl, why do you care that much about me? I am a random 13-year-old that you have had like 3 conversations with and 1 2-hour call.
Yeah,
Like, because it just doesn't feel all that comfortable. And I definitely want to call some person that I've barely met this stuff. Like, it's just, I just care a lot, that's all. Why do you care so much? I am a random 13-year-old kid.
you've known her for like a week at this point.
Like 20 days. But even then, we've like had 3 conversations because the conversations were so infrequent after the call, you know? Like there's just massive gaps in our
Oh yeah,
conversations.
funny. Yeah, I read the date. I bet.
Well, the date that we originally started talking was like the 9th, but like that's just so much scrolling because again, there's just yeah, the 9th was
Yeah.
when we started having freaking conversations. Yeah, back to that. Oh my god, it's way too much scrolling. There we go. And then she would go, "Believe me, there are far worse," and it's just like, oh, just really trying to dumb down what you were doing. Like, okay, and then just strange things to say, just strange things to say to a 13-year-old. Um, and then another drawing from her. And then more updates on the channel. And all that. And then again, here comes back with the goddamn memes. Things started to get way less creepy now that like I stood my ground and was like, hey, I don't really like those pet names, so let's not. So there was that at least. But
Yeah, still
ugh.
did not absolutely stop her from talking about stuff.
Yep, and she's still treating Fleetway like an entirely separate person that is real. Like, my god.
Yeah,
This
and
is
she's
this is not healthy. At the time, yeah, like it was. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly from the screenshots, it's like a week or 2 after my birthday. And I was like very freshly 15. Still not good, but yeah, still not an age you should be talking to someone with about that stuff. Um, there's all that. Okay, what kind of memes? Girl, I'm 13. Just oh, and then right this X that she would mention. I don't know who this was, but yeah,
yeah, I did. I'm not gonna.
yeah, I don't really remember them. So um, then of course like queer people in media, love that. And then we would talk about our sexualities now. So okay, um, and again more with the Fleetway being whole separate person type shit. Um, uh, is there anything else? I don't think there's much more. Okay, then there was the end of that conversation, and then just a massive jump in days. Like,
All of you.
yeah, again, I focused much more on just my life because things were rough. I think me like putting my foot down really was like the thing to like push her away because as you can see, there's definitely a shift because
Yeah,
now because before when there would be long pauses, it would take her like 4 days at like least for her to start talking to me again. And
yeah,
she would
and
very often
I've
spam
kind
that
of
shit.
noticed how her like dried up.
Yeah, like things just kind of dried up a lot more after she saw that like she was just not working with me. I put my foot down and it just was a she just realized that it was not going to work with me. Shit was just not going to work. I put my foot down and yeah, I was just not having it. And as you can see, stuff calmed down just so conveniently at that point. And suddenly she was less like wanting to try to talk to me first. So I think I skipped it. So then much later there was this. I think it was when she got into her first collab. So like I had some free time, so I talked to her. Then just again talking about the video and all that. I don't. Oh well, there you go. Here's the start of it. Oh, okay, that's the end of the conversation. But here's the starter for going over comments and bashing them. Granted, this one's just
Michael
yeah,
Jackson.
that's just definitely not a thing. But again, she would very much get absorbed in the comments, even way back here. So, but yeah, that is the end of the conversations because again, I didn't really have much of an opportunity to use my computer soon after this because school ended, so I couldn't use like me working on schoolwork as an excuse to try to like sneak conversations with Gray in. And so summer break happened, and then I joined into the Fleeway server and found it on like July 17th, I'm pretty sure. So, and then from that point on, I don't remember much because I don't really have access to a lot of the conversations that happened in 2020. So, because stuff just got deleted so much. So,
Yeah.
But I do know that it exists because I have gotten a screenshot from our conversation back then, and it is also how I know how I met Gray. So soon after we started talking in Gmail, I we got to talking a good bit, and then eventually we went into a call. This was all like in the same like night, by the way. So we got into a call that lasted for like a good few hours, and eventually, during it, my parents came out to my room and asked what was up. And since I was, a dumb 13-year-old at the time who really still liked my parents and didn't want to lie to them, I told them the truth that I was talking to like this 28-year-old or so, maybe 29-year-old woman on the internet, and was pretty excitedly talking about it because it was like I was talking to one of the like an idol of mine because I was a big fan of the whole group of Sonic VR chat YouTubers at the time. So getting to talk to one of them personally was just like 13-year-old me was pretty excited about that. I didn't really know the person, but I get to talk to one of them. That's cool. But my parents were obviously concerned, so they very obviously asked me to stop contacting Gray, and after I told Gray that, I don't think the call went on for much longer than that, and we didn't call again, and we we barely texted here and there, but over time, like within like at least a month, the conversations just kind of stopped, and we didn't really talk to each other at all until around the time when Gray's Discord server was created back in July. Um, I joined that Discord server back in July 17th of 2020. Oh, and I should probably mention the call and all that stuff happened in like March of 2020, and I was like hot off just getting off a bad relationship with someone at the time. Um, so then I joined in July, and Gray was quick to remember me. So of course we were quickly friendly, and that same day, I think me and pretty much a bunch the other members of like the main mod team, along with Gray, got in a call together, and it went on for like pretty much the entire night. And that was essentially like how we met and how things like started out for me at least.
Oh, is that my cue? Okay.
Yeah, you can
I'm
I
introduce
think so, yeah.
you can introduce
Yeah.
yourself now if you want.
yeah, I'm Quantam364, but people cut the other half out and just call me Quant the whole time. I was one of the earlier members in the server when it first opened, and the way I first met Gray was through a call. I think it was the second time I'd entered a call. She was in there, and it went on for quite a long time, and she exchanged a bunch of stories, talked about like different Sonic YouTube stuff, and it went on until like very late in the night. I don't remember the exact hour, but I think it was 4 a.m. I don't know. It went on for a long time, basically. This was during lockdown, so I had, I had all the time to spare. And by that
Yeah, we're
point,
still
I
in
was
lockdown.
yeah, I was one of Gray's close friends, and from then on, well, eventually when she did make a mod team, she appointed me as one of them, and I was then a mod until as recently as 5 months ago when Aster first made a calling out the
Yeah.
allegations, and then I realized, oh, I never left those servers. I never blocked them all. I need to do that before something happens. I need to do something. And because I had stopped being active years before that, around the time that everything, had happened, but at that point, I was just in there for, admittedly, just to listen to the drama because there was always something new. Um, but I
That's
wouldn't
nice.
call myself a victim of Grey because I don't think she succeeded, but she attempted things that definitely, in hindsight, were like tactics, like as previously mentioned, getting them to hate their parents, those kinds of things, the like very overly friendly messages, nicknames, and such,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, all that stuff. And I do have my own personal accounts of her transphobia, but I'll get to that when I get to that. So,
Yeah. Okay, so what were after you two met Gray, what was your relationship with her like? What was a casual interaction with her like?
I would say that
well,
like back in like 2020, things were pretty good overall.
yeah,
Like during like 2020, things were very good. It was like just normal stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of drama since Gray was like still very small of a channel at the time. And she was still like friends with Dragon and Blake at the time. So everything was still good then, but like late 2020 to early 2021, that's when the shift started to happen. But before then, everything was all cool. It was just
well, no, there was
us.
one thing. There was the Scourge account that she was
Oh
like
right,
really. I don't remember what it even was,
right.
unfortunately, but
That
she
was
was
like
like
the
very
first
against that
instance
guy
of her just. Yeah, there was like this
taking
one
down a
scourge
channel.
YouTuber. I don't exactly remember them, but like that was like the first instance of her like really getting into
Yeah, I
Was
drama with
remember.
other
it
Sonic YouTubers.
I can't tell if it was like Rick or someone else.
I
I
don't
don't know
know,
his
but I
real
do
name.
remember
I just
one
know he
thing. I
had like
do remember.
another alias.
Like,
Yeah, I don't. Everyone
yeah,
did,
I don't know.
but
Like
I,
three people
I
come to
do
mind when it's
remember.
like Scourge, but
Hmm.
whatever.
What I do remember is an unarchived. Says I don't think there's any traces, so you're gonna have to take my word for it. Which, believe what you will, was a live
Yeah.
stream that happened where she called out some guy. I don't remember who it was or what that was about, and passively mentioned that Scourge channel as like, oh yeah, by the way, this guy sucks too, mid live stream. And I remember we were on it. I don't remember how many people in the mod team were on that live stream, but I remember at least I was on there.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I remember it ended up causing the Scourge channel to get mass reported and taken down, leading to a bunch of people in the Sonic VR chat community, a bunch of like the YouTubers, going directly to Gray and either cutting her off by the end of it or just giving her a bunch of like flack for it because she was very irresponsible about that
Yeah. So
and was doing like a witch hunt.
yeah. So this is like a continuous behavior of this. She'll just like
Oh yeah,
send her fan base to mass report and like
Mhm.
witch hunt people.
weaponizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was a very common trait that she would do, especially with like us, the mod team. And now I probably should clarify this real quick. I don't fully remember when I became a mod. Um, Everything from like 2020 is very foggy to me because like it okay, so for context, after I had broken things off with Gray back in like late 2021, um, I separated myself almost completely from Gray. I did not want to hear anything about Gray. I did not want to talk to Gray. I did not want to talk to any of Gray's friends. I left everything. I blocked a lot of the people that were very close to Gray. Besides like the people that I was so close with.
Me.
And
Yes.
then for like the next like yeah, and then for almost like the next 5 years, up until like just like a month ago, I would say, I was rarely hearing anything about Gray. Like the most I would hear for like 5 years or so was Quant giving me updates like once or twice a year or so, and
It was just like
every
it was
time it was
always
just
just like, hey,
essentially
by the way, she's never changed. Like
yeah, it was pretty much
every
every time it
time.
was just like, hey, so things haven't changed at all. She's still as shitty as she was. So
You made the right
that's
choice.
all the information that I was getting. I got like no information. I was just hearing things didn't really change. Until very recently when me and Quant were in the middle of a conversation, Quant ended up mentioning the video, Aster's first video on the whole subject, and I was dumbfounded when I first saw it, when I first heard of it. I was just shocked to hear how bad things have really gone, because that's why I never really said anything, because I wanted what happened to me to just at the time to just stay in between me and the mods,
To be
because
an
they were the people
isolated
that I cared about, and
situation.
I wanted them to be aware of how dangerous Gray could be as a friend and as a person. But that was it. I never said anything publicly, and not really anything was said from Gray or anyone publicly to anyone. I wanted to keep things completely separated. I got my piece out in a super long message, which will probably be mentioned later. And then from that point on, I just did not hear much of anything about Gray. And so that's why it's taking up until like around now for us to finally get into contact and for me to finally tell this story.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but at least you guys have like the luxury of like even before I got involved in stuff, she was like shit talking me a lot, like, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
I
person.
was lucky that
The
like
thing is, you
after
never
that
came
point,
up. Yeah,
yeah, that's the
Tristan
thing.
never
After
came
that
up.
like one time, after that one day of me like just sending that big message, I was just never mentioned again. I did not get involved with anything related to Gray, so I was just never mentioned publicly in the slightest. I didn't even know anything that was going on at the time, so I stayed so out of it that I was just never mentioned. So I
That may,
managed to luckily
however,
escape all the shit talking.
have been because she knew I was still friends with you, so it could have been that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that
But
could have also been it, because she
either way,
probably
you
didn't want to
didn't come
shit
up.
talk me in front of you. But even in like
Yeah.
text and like the server, I wasn't really ever mentioned.
Yeah.
Like
No.
as far as we know, I was just never mentioned.
Yeah,
So
like, and I was like gonna bring this up. Like, I don't know if you were like aware of this, Quant, but like one of my friends told me like as soon as she like cut me off, she made like this whole group chat just to shit talk me.
oh my
I
god.
don't think I was in there.
Like, I remember like Blue from my initial video mentioning this, like, hey, Gray invited me to like this group chat. What happened? I'm like, she broke up with me. Why is she doing this?
Oh
Doing too much. You're doing too much.
yeah, that's just a lot, man.
Yeah, like, and then even after like one of my headmates, again, I don't know if I'm diagnosed yet, but one of my headmates is like, "Don't fucking mention us again," and then immediately goes to like mention us again.
Don't mention us
Yeah, like,
again,
hey
persistent
guys,
continues
let me
versus
complain
that.
about this person.
Yeah, but like, let me let y'all continue about like how you were like your relationships with Gray.
Yeah, all right. So I just remembered where I was going with that whole tangent. So I want to mention that like even though I don't remember a lot of stuff that was going on in like 2020 to 2021, since like because I was so separate from Gray, I was repressing and just slowly like forgetting everything that happened. So if it was not in like a screenshot that we got, or something that Quan was able to like figure out, I don't really remember it at all. So a lot of stuff from like 2020 to 2021 yeah, I don't really have proof for, because for some reason just a bunch, well, for a lot of reasons the text back then would just kind of like deleted, so I don't have many visual like evidence of like stuff that was going on back then. And so just take whatever happened in like 2020 with like a grain of salt, because there's just not a whole lot of proof available of it, since like so much drama happened that a lot of chats during that time were just deleted. So but from what I can remember, I was not actually given the role as mod until like I think 2021. Like I was in the
I had
like
to
friend
vouch
group.
for you.
Yeah, you guys had to like convince Gray to let me be a mod. So, you know, it's and like
Pretty please, you'd
it's
be really good at it.
complicated.
Pretty please.
Yeah, like the thing is, I was a very stupid kid at the time, so like I
We
understand
all were.
not giving me that role, but like to be fair, I was not the youngest one. There were multiple people. Quant and my
I
current
think it was
partner were
me.
both younger than me, and were both immediately given the role of mod, while
Yeah, I was the youngest one.
to I was just left to rot for like months on end. And like, you know, at the time, since I was so young and pretty stupid, it did hurt me quite a bit at the time, because like, you know, I was one of the only people to have met Gray like before the server even opened. So, you know, being treated like that, with like just being discarded like that kind of, despite knowing Gray the longest, did hurt. But like, I'm not really gonna care about that too much, because like it was a stupid thing to
It's a
want to
drop in
just
the
be
bucket.
mod so bad. Like it was a childish ass want, and it was pretty selfish. And like I do agree, back then, young me was not really mature enough to fit that role. But like it at the time, I was still like very jealous and like just sad that I was being discarded a lot of times from like I was often left out of events because it would be like mod only stuff. And like despite me being so close to the entire group of mods, I would often get left out of things because I just wasn't an official mod, despite being so close to everyone in that team. So that's a lot of like what was going down in 2020, besides like Gray just having continuous actions of shit talking. Back then she went besides the Skirts channel, she went shit talk a lot of like YouTubers. She would just be mentioning
It would be like shipping
comments
wars and
and
stuff.
shit. It would just be
And
like
comments,
comments
yeah.
or like people in her server, where she would just like privately mention it to like the mod team, and then just complain about those people being like stupid or stuff like that, and would sometimes get us to respond to those people for her.
Oh yeah, I remember
So
her doing shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, it
I
was a very common practice she
had
did.
forgotten about that until you said that.
Yeah. But how were
Yeah,
like things in the mod staff? How does she treat the mod staff?
Ooh,
I mean,
not well.
it's tough to say. Yeah, she wouldn't treat us like incredibly well. She would be both like
No.
very love bombing and also very like strict and kind of lectury. Like
My
she
screenshot
would,
is yeah, I'll reveal I was the pink censor in the video. The joke about the
yeah, and I
gay
was the
spiders
yellow.
thing was that
Yeah,
was my
I was
message.
about to. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Tristano is the
Yeah,
yellow in the initial video, and Quant is pink in the initial video.
As I should
yep.
be.
Yeah.
Very digress. Uh,
Red was kind of taken, so
um,
you know I didn't really get that.
yeah,
Yeah.
she would be very like helicoptery about a few things and very absent about others. It'd be like she would get on our case for weird hypocritical things like, oh, you can't make adult jokes like that. Then she would make adult jokes to us, or just like
Yeah, it was
post screenshots of
very
like Bleach characters cleavage in the group chats for like
yeah,
no reason.
Yeah.
it was a very weird dynamic. Like pretty much the dynamic was just like um oftentimes we wouldn't really be talking to her first, because like, you know, that was kind of a big thing with her. She would talk first. But like even in like private areas like a group chat or stuff like that, or like a private like mod server, uh it would still kind of be the thing where like she would be the one to initiate conversations, because like um if we the mods wanted to talk to each other, there were like other places to do that, which I'll get into like later. But
Yeah, that makes
oftentimes when it was in like a group with the mods and Gray would be the one starting conversations, and it would be a mix of just a bunch of weird stuff. It would either be like her complaining about a comment or another Sonic YouTuber like Dragon or Blake, or she would uh talk about Bleach endlessly, share just post a bunch of like cringy memes or like Bleach stuff, even though like I'm pretty sure like almost no one in the mod server at the time had watched Bleach.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it was just her talking to a brick wall, because a lot of us just weren't really like wanting to get involved in the drama, because a lot of us were minors who were dealing with like high school and shit like that, so there was a lot going on in our place already. So bunch of drama getting involved, and yeah, then she would also just like kind of act to us how she kind of did to Aster here, where like
Yes.
she would often like love bomb us, especially people that she was like closest to, like
The nicknames and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, she would very often give nicknames to pretty much every one of us,
Like it would
completely
always
unprompted. And go
like
ahead.
it would always end in like an IE or like a Y sound, which is factually makes something sound like more endearing, or that's usually the intent at least. So it
Yeah,
was
I don't think she ever called us like
still classifies as that.
I don't think she ever called us stuff like sweetie or darling, but yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Fuck. What were we talking about? But yeah,
You were
so
I think
besides like all
y'all were talking
yeah,
about like nicknames she give you guys.
Yes,
oh
yes.
yeah, yeah, she would constantly give us nicknames, and be like very love bombing still. Like she would give us a lot of like sweet things like you guys are so awesome. I love you guys. You're all so incredible people. And it was just a lot. It was just
Y'all are
constant
such great
love
friends.
bombing. Like
Yeah.
when she wasn't like being insanely strict with us, she was love bombing the hell out of us.
I do remember this as well. She had a nickname based on my dead name, and when she found out I was trans, the first thing she said to me was like, "Oh, so I can't use that anymore?" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Bro.
No.
Adding that into
Yeah,
priority.
and
the transphobia pile.
yeah, I don't know if I when I told her or if I ever did, but like the nicknames that she would use for me, uh
I think
like the
they
nickname,
were.
because of how it was like structured, I kind of had a little bit of trauma behind it, because like back in like elementary school I got heavily teased to the point of like just breaking down crying back in like elementary school with like
Like a bully
that
the
same
name.
exact like name. um like some of my friends were just bullying me, and I just broke down in tears. So I don't have good memories or a good response to that nickname, but like she would just continuously call me it, and I don't know exactly if or when I told her that I didn't really like it. Um, and if I didn't, oops, that's my bad. I was pretty bad at communicating back there. That's something I will admit. But like, I feel like I did tell her at some point. Like, I had a very bad response to it, especially back then. Like, it was still very fresh back then. So, you know.
I don't
But
remember
I
this. I don't doubt that it happened because I do remember she stopped calling me by a nickname at a certain point, but I don't remember, when or why that happened. So I can attest to this
yeah, same.
probably did happen. So
Yeah, like I
yeah,
do remember she eventually stopped calling me it, but like it was still like in 2021 when she was calling me it. So I don't know when it stopped. I don't know why or how. I just know that at some point it did stop, and I don't know if I ever told her that like I didn't really like the name.
it probably
I
did.
don't know. She kind of like stops calling people like endearing terms whenever she like, at least from what I've been seeing, like she stops doing that once she doesn't find a use for people anymore.
Yeah, and to
When
be
she gets
fair, by
bored.
the time that she stopped was kind of the time that I was starting to like separate a bit, because
Yeah.
an event would happen, but that's for later.
Yeah. But did you like like until like 2021 or further, like how she treated you guys personally and the mod staff?
Ooh, okay. She would do a lot of the stuff she did to you, to us. Like, whenever we would say, "Oh, this bad thing happened with our parents," and she would then go ahead and say, like, "You need to call like Child Protective Services. You need to like." She's like,
Oh yeah,
she's abusing
she
us
would
and
Yeah.
stuff.
often do that. Like she would often bring out the like our parents like just doing like
Mm.
kind of bad jobs of parenting that it would be abusive.
Because it
Some
was
of her friends were
2020.
actually in like
Everyone was stressed.
yeah like
Like,
and everyone was just having problems. And plus, like, we were teenagers. Teenagers are just gonna have problems with their
teenagers
parents
are
at the
difficult.
time. They're not
Yeah.
gonna. They're
Yeah,
gonna rebel.
exactly. Like,
Like it's just a natural thing for a kid to just complain about what their parents are doing. And fun fact, oftentimes it may not be as bad as they're describing. So
yeah, like,
Mhm.
maybe don't take a teenager's complete word for what their parents are doing to them,
yeah, this is
and don't
basic.
like feed into it.
This is basically what happened. Like, ugh, I'm so fucking stressed. My parents are putting curfews on my technology because I need to study more.
You should skin throw them in a salt bath.
That's abusive. You should call 911 and come live with me.
Yeah.
Like literally, like the thing is, back in like early 2021, I got caught dating who is currently my partner now. We didn't date long back then, but like complicated story. Not here, not the time, not the place. But when my parents first caught me dating them, they almost immediately got super insanely protective of me. Like and just like how I would be
Mhm.
on Discord. So they heavily limited how much I could be on Discord that like I had to just find so many workarounds just to talk to any of my friends. And it was there was a point in time like during that point where it was like so bad that like I literally couldn't even read like chat messages because like unless someone just sent me like a screenshot of what was being talked about, I couldn't see it because like
Yeah,
I
I
had to do
remember
some
that.
fuck shit where like yeah, it was a whole era where I had to do some fuck shit just to see messages because like I in order for me to access Discord, I would have to go into like some browser type of thing and it would crunch the screen so much that the top bar would just cover the entire chat message because it would be
You
like
would
stuck in
disappear for like
landscape
months.
mode essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was horrendous,
All right, guys,
and
they called me. I gotta go.
yeah, and I would complain about it, of course. I don't know how much Uni Gray ever said, how much she said stuff, but I would not doubt that like she would call it like abusive and stuff like that, or like
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
not good. When like my parents were literally just being protective of me on the internet, talking to strangers.
Yeah, like,
Which was
I
very
exactly.
was
warm.
14 at the time, like.
Yeah, exactly. Like, my parents did the same shit. Like, just monitoring. Like, sure, my parents are assholes sometimes. I won't fucking deny it. But they, like, they were, like, only, like, taking my shit away because they realized I was talking to someone older than me on the internet. They were like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
stranger danger.
Yeah. Bro, things got so bad with my parents. Like, right now, love my parents. They're incredible, and I could not ask for better parents. They have everything that they did back then was just, I know
Mhm.
it was just to protect me, and they just didn't understand technology fully at the time.
Huh?
And I was being kind of a bitch about it back then. So I love them, and I know that they're good parents, but like, I lost it. What was I gonna say? Shit. Um, Oh, right. But back then, it got so bad to the point where I genuinely believed that I had grown a fear of just being touched in general. Like, I started getting so scared of my parents that whenever I would get like hugged by like a
Mm.
family member or my parents, I would start to feel uncomfortable.
That
That's how
sounds
like
so
Yeah.
bad things
familiar.
had gone, and
Familiar.
like it got really really bad. I would be so scared of my parents, and it ended up leading me to saying some really harmful things that I really shouldn't have said. I ended up saying stuff like I didn't trust my parents anymore. Just by like literally like right before I met Uni, I mean Gray, things were great. Things were pretty good. It was just like the typical like teenagers kind of rebelling against their parents, but I still like went along with like mostly everything that they said because like I liked my parents. They were treating me well, and everything was good. But then it did not take long after meeting Unity for me just to be so like afraid of my parents. And
Yeah.
it was literally just because they were
Yeah.
being protective of me. It got that bad.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, she made me afraid of my parents touching me too. Like, my parents would do like normal parent things, or like kissing me when I get back, or
Nudging
when
you with the
greeting.
handle.
Yeah, handle of the
Yeah.
knife.
Yeah.
And then like hug me and stuff. And then like my dad would accidentally put like his hand a little too low, not like even on purpose. And then I'd complain about it to Gray, like, oh, your father's sexually abusing me. No.
Oh my god.
Well, like, yeah, she would always like
That's
take the
insane.
worst possible. She would always take the least charitable response and be like, it's the worst thing it could have been. She was always worst case scenario about these things.
Yeah, no, my parents were just
Yeah.
showing me affection, and then she literally made me afraid of affection, which is why I have that problem now.
And that's why
Yeah, I
she
think
was then like, oh, it's okay, I'll give you safe affection. It's safe with me. And
yeah,
well, obviously
Yeah,
it wasn't. That's like textbook grooming.
yeah,
yeah, that's luckily for me, I have grown out of that whole like fear. That was very much just like a phase because like fun fact, almost soon after, like almost immediately after I had left Gray, guess how my relationship with my parents started to change? It got better. Like I was still fucking up in school and my parents would yell at me for that, sure. But it was going back to normal. I was no longer thinking that I had like this phobia of being just touched. Like it just magically got better once I wasn't around Gray. And like, yeah, sure. Back then when I would complain about stuff that my parents would do, my other friends like in the mod server, in the mod team would also like kind of say stuff like that. But like to be fair, they were really getting a lot of it from Gray. Like
yeah. Like
a lot of it was coming from Gray.
Obviously,
So like
like
it would just be kind of like repeat points of what Gray would kind of say to them, and then they would kind of say to me. So it would just kind of be a
well, she
trickle
said
down
it, so it
effect
has
where
to be
like
right.
a bunch of people would say it to
yeah,
me.
yeah. Like the popular
But once you
YouTuber
put
said
your
it, so
head-
it has to be true. Like that's also what I've
Exactly.
noticed, because like they're literally trying
Yeah.
to spread like. Not even just her, but her friends are trying to spread the lie that like my parents tried to like kill or beat me when that never fucking happened.
Brother,
the
all
thing,
your
it's a-
dad did was tap you with a pocket knife handle.
Yeah.
That's like the
It
worst
was
thing
a
he
cult
did.
of personality. Yes.
That's not.
And the thing is, the way she's done this is what is known as a cult of personality. Think like how in politics some party will you won't know the party members, you'll just know the one like face of it who's like, oh, I'm a good personality, you know, you can follow me, for example. It's in like every country ever.
It's in
She
America.
did that with her community.
It's in America right now.
Very much.
Well,
Let's just
also
take a look
in
at the current political system.
couple-
Oh wow.
Yeah, and what she's done is she's basically created a community that revolves around her and only her. Because, like we've said, she wouldn't want people to message her first because she would want to like message first and be
Yeah.
the one in control of the conversation.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, we
And-
can't speak to her; she's too important for that.
And then she complains
Only
when
if she's
then
And, like,
people don't
another people
message her.
stuff.
And then she complains when
And,
people
like,
don't message
another-
her. Like, you literally set the
Yeah.
people up.
And then like and like another part of that would be that like if you had like the slightest bit of disagreement with Gray, it was like you committed the most atrocious sin imaginable. Like especially if you were like close to her. If you like had the slight like different opinion from Gray, like if she was like complaining about like the situations that she would constantly get in with the other Sonic YouTubers, if you would dare try to think like maybe both sides have a point, if you would even dare to slightly think that instead of just thinking, well, Gray's always right, so these people must be terrible. If you would slightly
Remember-
deviate from that, it would be terrible. You would get lectured.
Remember in one of the screenshots of the comments, someone was like, "You shouldn't be like dead naming Aster because that's not fair to like
And
trans
then they
people
got
on the
flamed.
whole, especially." And then she responded with like a whole paragraph and posted it in her server and was like, "Look at this idiot, guys."
Yeah, like,
So yeah,
yeah, and she's trying to paint that I'm transphobic, all because I accidentally misgendered random, and that was an accident. I'm going to say that on the record. Yeah,
Which
Yeah,
accident?
like it's fine.
like
Yeah, it's fine to like accidentally slip up like occasionally. Like
yeah, but like
that's just natural.
yeah, like but I
Yeah.
think there's a difference between like accidentally saying the wrong pronouns 2 times and then you continuing to
And then
dox and then
actively like
actively doxing.
Yeah.
actively
Which
using someone's legal name and dead name and then also just constantly using the wrong pronouns for them because some stuff happened between you and them. That's a very different case than accidentally saying the wrong pronouns for someone.
Yeah.
which is a
And
great
like
segue onto a story I've got.
Oh yeah, what was the story you
So,
were going to talk
what do we
about?
want to bring up first? Do we want to bring up the story of like the slur I heard go unpunished, or do we want to like close off the cult of personality thing that we were just on?
finish like the cola personality thing and then like
Okay.
you can start
Yeah,
So as you'll
because
see
that does
on her
lead into a
channel
point
right
that I
now,
have. So
yeah, on her channel right now, it says Justice for My Community as the name. That is a strategy used by people who create these kinds of circles to be like, look at how everyone else is so mean to you guys. Every attack on me is an attack on you because I'm not gonna say it. And then it's like, you make everyone
sorry if you
think
heard that.
the world is against them. It's fine. You make everyone think the world's against them, and you offer the salve. You offer the fix to that. Like, look, everyone else is against you, but I'm not. I'm here for you. It's okay. You can feel safe here with me. And that's when you create a vacuum in your community that no one can leave them because, like, well, they're here for me. Everyone else hates me. So what am I supposed to do? I can't speak up or
Mm.
anything like that. That's what she's done.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And like a great way that like once that's kind of like how it would start, and then like once you're like in that whole group, another way that she would like keep you trapped in is a tactic that she is very prone to using is almost immediately upon meeting someone that she wants to like get very close with for whatever reason, nefarious or not, she would almost immediately open up about very personal things like how
Trauma
she
dumping.
did with Aster, almost immediately talking about all the drama that she was going through,
Mm-hmm.
or like with like us, she would just talk about like very personal stories about like her life and stuff like that, and just shit that she's
Yeah.
been through like her family and stuff like that. She would be very quick to open up about very personal
Like
details.
showing pictures of her
So
childhood bedroom and stuff.
Bruh.
yeah, like I literally found the whole thread of her just showing pictures of that stuff. And
Mm.
so and that's how she would be able to like manipulate people to staying with her so much, and that's why she had like such a grapple on a lot of people who are like still defending her, a very small amount of
Yeah.
people, because like
Yeah, I
she's
don't hold it
opened up to
against
them
them.
so much that they think that like yeah, like she's opened up to them so much that like it's just a natural thing for people to like not want to separate
You know,
from
you
someone
want to stick
who
by your
has
friends.
trusted them so much to
Yeah.
Yeah.
open who someone has trusted you that much to open up that much about their life. You would obviously want to stay friends with them for a very long while and support them because you feel like they trust you
Oh,
a lot,
how
so
much
you
this
don't want to
person's
break that
better.
trust. it's
Yeah.
it's a very common thing, and unfortunately it is a thing that predators like to take advantage of
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy
by
trick.
like just yeah, it's an easy trick. If you just open up about stuff in your life, like people who have wronged you in the past or like just trauma you've experienced, you'll instantly like get a stranglehold on people. Unfortunately, she has had that effect on a lot of people. So
And she continues to have that effect on people. Like
She portrays
literally
yeah.
herself as a martyr.
she does and then
Mhm.
people defend her for it and then they literally do anything in their power to defend.
All right. So I think now is the transphobic slur
Right, the
story
slur.
that
Okay,
we got done with
so
the
this
cult of
I think
personality.
yeah, I think this is the last time I was in a call that I can remember.
Yeah.
At least
Her friend
the
group
last time anything
is
happened in one of them.
yeah, her friend
It
group
was around.
I'm sorry, no, like I was just gonna say her friend group is certainly like a cult at this point. I'm not even gonna try and
Oh yeah,
sugarcoat it.
no, it absolutely is. There's no
Absolutely.
sugarcoating it.
Yeah.
It's not even an insult to say that. It's just factual at this point, like definitively.
Mm-hmm.
But the slur I heard the last time I was in a call that, at least that I remember, last time anything happened, someone who wasn't Gray, had said, I think it was he, she, which is, I don't think I need to explain how that's derogatory, but
Mhm.
if I do,
Ugh.
it's like it's a term that people use to demean trans people of either side as like, look at you trying to be both, and it's like
Yeah.
someone had repeated that in the call, and I sat there for a second. That fired off a neuron. I started paying attention. I sat my gay ass up, and I listened. I was like, okay, is anyone gonna call this out? I'm shocked that that just like slid under the radar, and I had to stand up. I had to be like, hey, reminder, I'm still a mod in here. Don't say that while anyone is here. We don't welcome that here. So I thought. Oh, my naive ass. I
Mhm.
I thought we didn't, but I was like, yeah, don't say that, okay? I'll let you off, but don't say that. And then Gray suddenly chimes in like, yeah, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Yeah. Yeah. And then like retracted a bit, which is quite unlike her. But
Like,
then I was like,
just
okay, now this
super
place is
dismissive.
just beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this place is just beyond saving, so I'm not gonna go back in a call here. It's the same thing every time. I'm bored. I don't want to listen to it anymore. The joke's tired, and the community's rancid for that.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
for just letting that slide. But
Yeah.
that's the slur I heard. That just like it flew off,
Yeah, that is.
just flew away. And I didn't want to catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just dismissed so easily.
Yeah,
And like she like
and she would always like, oh, we're not doing this. We're not doing this whole you go first, no, you go first thing. Okay.
no, no, I
Uh,
forgot what I was gonna say.
oh, but she would also complain a lot about people. Oh, they change their names too much. I think this particularly happened with Guts. She was like, oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
the story she fed people was that, oh, Guts keeps changing their name too much, and I got it wrong once, and then they blew up at me for it. How dare they? I made a simple mistake. Oh, so now simple mistakes aren't okay for one. Now they're okay for one.
Mhm.
Why don't we apply that to Aster here
Yeah,
for
exactly.
that?
Yeah,
Two,
exactly.
that isn't what happened. You said if you were older, I would date you to a 14-year-old. That's not the same as someone who is oversensitive about a name change.
Yeah.
But even this
Yeah,
is like part of
it's
the transphobia. It's like, so you're just going to use someone's gender identity as a way to make a cover story for what you did. So you're weaponizing their identity again.
Mm.
yeah,
So I think that goes in both piles.
Yeah,
it's
like
just very weird.
yeah, like right now Gray's using like weaponizing random's gender all because I like misgendered them by accident twice. Meanwhile, they're also both of them actually are just throwing the claim I'm weaponizing my gender when literally I just want basic human respect for my identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like so weird, like how differently she responds from like trans men and trans women. Like
Oh, yeah, that's
Mhm.
true.
Quant here, when she came out as trans, Gray was like all giddy and stuff. Like I
Clicking
think
her heels
when
and
I
clapping.
mentioned it, when I mentioned it to her, I think that was at the time where like things were still like kind of tense between everyone, and everyone was kind of separated a bit because of like an
Yeah.
event that happened like a bit ago that again we'll get into later. Um, but it was gonna be like the first time that she would have talked to Quant in a while, and when I told her about Quant being like fully trans, being a trans woman, she was all like giddy and stuff, like, "Oh, I can't wait to meet her!" Like it, and then
We do have
when it comes to
screenshots
trans
of it.
men, when they come out to
Why
her,
didn't you tell me sooner?
she's like,
Oh.
mm, yeah, like why didn't you tell me sooner? Or like, I just don't see you as a man, or
Hmm.
just like other weird stuff, or just like not respecting their pronouns.
Yeah.
It like it's just
Yeah.
so different how like with Quant, a trans woman was all fine, was all well and good, but with trans men, it's icky, it's gross, and she just can't see it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell
like-
are your standards?
Yeah,
Why
like
the switch up?
I remember very specifically, like Gray was complaining about Guts' pronouns to me at some point, like, oh, like Z them, that's not valid. I don't like that, or some shit.
Oh my god.
God, the Neo's discourse. I'm tired.
The fucking neo pronouns
I'm
discourse.
tired.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad.
Yeah. Yeah, but like even then, like Guts being trans, like Gray didn't bring that up to me like at all as like, or like they're like, oh, they didn't tell me, like same argument that like she's using with me now, even though I literally fucking told her I was trans, like, hey, I feel more masculine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I meant to tell you sooner, but you actually brought it up first.
Well, you shouldn't message
Yeah,
her
and
first,
then, like-
remember? That's her
Oh
rule.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what you get.
oh yeah, that's her rule. I
That was her cardinal
forgot.
sin.
That's her boundary.
No, but not people
And
don't
the
message her
thing-
enough, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and then like another thing about the whole like Guts thing, like we had the screenshot for it, but like Guts did tell Gray about like their gender and their pronouns. Sure, like might not sure, we don't know the full context of everything, but like Gray had ended up misgendering Guts like 30 times at least. They had counted after Guts had come out as like gender fluid and all that. So you know,
Yeah, like Greg
just
uses the excuse of people being gender fluid or somewhat identifying as gender fluid just to like misgender them. That's what I've also noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like,
It-
oh, so
and
you
so
have
it definitely just
use
wasn't a
multiple
one-time
pronouns.
accident.
Yeah.
It's a behavior
Like it was a
pattern.
continuous pattern. Yeah, it was a continuous pattern. It's not just an accident. If it happens like 30 times, that's a pattern, not an accident.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that all that really needs to be said for like the transphobia part?
Yeah, but I was gonna get into like any more like iffy behaviors, like where like
I
any
could
points where
bring
she
it
like
up.
any points like she
I could
crossed
bring it up.
boundaries.
Oof,
I
okay,
there are
so I
definitely
remember
some, but like, go ahead, Quan.
I remember one last thing on the trans stuff. She would use "oh, they're a bad person" as an excuse to misgender Chris Chan, which I know no one's gonna, go to the
I
hills
mean-
to defend Chris Chan, but like that's still you're not attacking them, you're attacking the identity itself at that point. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
that's
then
one
again,
more point to the pile. I
then again,
guess.
like the whole reason of Chris Chan being trans is like a whole debacle in itself. So I don't know. I just use she.
Yeah.
That was also
but-
brought up.
Eh.
That was also brought up, but it's like with her, I don't know if that's the reason.
Yeah, it's just
But
Yeah, no,
Okay.
she uses that excuse. She used that excuse with me. So
yeah,
yeah. But yeah, if we're talking about like uncomfortable experiences, I guess I can get into like one of the I guess I can now like talk about one of the biggest things that she ended up doing to me that was really like what was like the breaking point for me where things like completely like shifted. So
mhm.
this was from like a VC, and like before this time, this was like back in like April, May or so of 2021. And before this point, I had started to get pretty uncomfortable around the whole constant like drama Gray would get in. So I was kind of starting to VC like less, just to, like separate myself because like things were getting really stressful at the time. Sophomore year was not good for me, and everything was just a mess, and I definitely did not need like the constant drama going on. Especially when things were like so soon after like a big thing that happened. So my mental health was just at a pretty big low, but at some point like April or May, in this one group chat with some of the mods and Gray, I noticed that at one point there was like a big VC going on. This had happened at like a time where like it had been a while since I'd been in a call with everyone, so it's just like, okay, you know what? I think I can give this a try. I think I can give VCing with Gray another try. You know, maybe things will be fun. Things were not. So, as I expected, almost immediately drama was brought up between like Blake and Multi. So, you know, that was not a great start. So it was basically the same shift. Like she would constantly bring in drama, and it did kind of kill the vibe a lot. But I was still like trying to stick through, just trying to keep in for like those good conversations that I was having with like that everyone else was trying to have. But then like at some point during the call, again, I don't have like full confirmation of like what was said at all because this was all in like a VC. But I just know like what happened because of like me and multiple people talking about how this affected us. But during the conversation, she ended up the topic of online couples um came into uh came into the conversation, and um there were at the time pretty much like I don't know, Quan, were you in a relationship with your girlfriend at the time?
No, that
Or
was
no?
that
Okay.
started in. Well, I think it started in 2021, but like this was before that started.
Yeah, okay. So it was just me and like this one dude, but both of us were already in like online relationships with people, and at the time things had started to get a bit um no, actually I think I'm making shit up. Let me try to just stick to the facts. Again, hard to remember
Confabulations.
everything, but um at some point, when Gray was finally talking about it, she says something like how online relationships are kind of like doomed to not last a while, and then just
Which
kind
is
of
really funny.
shit talk them and like uh certain like uh I'll just say what they are, like sex talks, like sex chats with online partners. She started badmouthing those
Talking
a
about the
lot.
kids, by the
It
way. Bring that up.
Yeah, that was in like front of kids, but like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she was saying that in front of two people who were in online relationships, and yeah, me and that other person felt like complete dog shit. Like we couldn't really say much of anything because I was just on mute the entire time. I couldn't really talk much. Um, and the other guy didn't really want to pipe up too much because Gray had a habit of making us not want to speak any differing opinions from her.
Yeah, you
So we just
kept
kind of
to.
Mhm.
kept quiet. We just kind of kept quiet and let her shit talk of things that we were like actively involved in and enjoying, and it made us both feel like such shit. And it sent like the other guy besides me into like, I don't know if it did send him into a panic attack. It might have not. But the two of us did talk after it, and yeah, it was bad. It affected him a lot. It made him really insecure about his like relationship at the time. Um, and I was just feeling like absolute shit and just felt so insulted. But again, we couldn't really say much of anything, so we were just shamed into like saying nothing. Um, so that was kind of like the breaking point for me, where everything finally started to like fall apart. Where the whole like picture of Gray being like this perfect person, this great friend, who could never do anything wrong. That's when it all finally started to like fully crumble, and I actually started to like distance myself way more from Gray and start to dislike them.
Mm.
Hmm. And you
So that was like
was
the
that
catalyst
when
for
you
all of
sent
it.
the giant like list of
No,
things?
that wasn't when I said no. The giant message in like December of 2021. This was all the way back in
Right.
like April or May or so of that year.
Okay.
But
Forgot the
like
timeline a bit.
it alone wasn't enough for me to like send the whole thing. Like it hurt, but I was just scared to say anything about it because she just shit talked it so much very publicly in front of everyone. So you know.
Yeah.
And of course, as things go, everyone was kind of agreeing with Gray's opinion, as it usually
Echo
goes.
chamber.
So
That's how the calls go. You
yeah,
agree so you can have some kind of involvement because she's always got the talking stick.
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
But
that's what really started everything for me.
I remember one interaction that I believe I brought up to you too at some point. She. This was around the time everything was going on with Aster, so she like contacted me privately to have like a conversation. I think it's on an old account. I don't have that account anymore, or at least I don't have access to it. It still exists. Um, but I remember she was talking to me about like the age gap situation that was going on with that, which obviously is very, not okay. It's 12 years. That's I
Yeah.
don't need to explain that. Like
Ooh.
and but
Yeah.
she was trying to get my 14-year-old, by the way, opinion. She was trying to get my opinion on it and be like, she wanted me to gas it up and be like, yeah, no, it's fine, go ahead. And I feel a bit of guilt for this, though I
Yeah.
really shouldn't because I was a kid. What was I supposed to do? I didn't want
Yeah.
to get on her bad side.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my fault, but I do still feel a
Almost.
bit bad about it. I did agree just very blankly and was like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's okay because you waited and stuff, and
No,
if it's above board, it's fine, which it's not. But I couldn't say that. It was
Yeah,
private,
like yeah.
and I didn't want her to go off on me for it.
yeah, don't
But that was around
blame
the time I
Yeah.
started
yourself.
to stop.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
blame
that was
your
around the time I started to stop talking.
yeah, don't blame yourself
Yeah.
cuz like she does that a lot where she like normalizes horrible things to be
Yeah, just
okay. It's like
desensitizing.
and then she's like you're a
Yeah.
horrible person if you don't fucking agree with me. Like eat
Yeah,
that.
so
Exactly.
I had to go along with it, or else I didn't really have a choice. Like, I had to go
Yeah.
along with it, or else I would get like, because you've seen
Like
how people who she doesn't like get treated. I didn't want to be in that situation at the time.
Yeah.
yeah, we had seen personally so much like
Yeah,
how people who disagreed with her were treated, and so yeah, no wonder we were pretty shit at communicating with her. We kind of didn't want to have a disagreeing
you didn't
opinion when
have
we
a
knew
choice
that
to.
would be something
You
that would
get
happen.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
So
we had been lectured plenty enough. We were kids. We didn't want to get yelled at by this stranger on the internet when we were already getting yelled enough at by our parents.
Yeah.
yeah,
You guys probably already like reiterated like that stuff at some point, but are there like any points where she would share like TMI sexual stuff with you guys or
So
anything
should we
along
talk
those
about the
lines?
period thing now?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I laughed
yeah.
at that.
So let's talk about
address the elephant.
how. Let's just address the massive elephant in the room. I think you showed a screenshot of this in the last episode, in the last video. But
Episode.
yeah,
Episode.
just so,
Episode of this shit.
my fault. But well, another conversation that happened in the group chat was another spontaneous conversation that she had was about her irregular period cycles, and she went into full detail on what was going on down there. And
Yeah.
at the time, here's the warnings that she was giving ahead of time. This conversation is for the girls. Now, that's all she said. She didn't censor anything. She didn't put a spoiler over anything. And keep in mind, at the time, the only other people besides her who were talking, another brick wall situation, guess who was the only person who was really witnessing this shit? Me!
Oh
I was like the only one communicating because I didn't want her to just be opening up about this like super private sexual stuff and just be talking to a brick wall. I felt bad because like, I was here, I was already talking. I didn't want to just like leave it out. And it's not like I could avoid it. That shit was pinging me with every message. I was getting those messages, constant notifications. Like, and again, she didn't really. So I would get flashbang by it because like I would kind of be forced to it because again, she didn't put a spoiler over it. I couldn't just like scroll past it or just like ignore it. I was the only one talking, and the only person who really came in was another guy, like briefly. And both of us were just like 14 and 15 at the time, at most.
Oh my fucking god.
She was actively describing her period and her regular cycles to 14 to 50-year-old boys. even though she said it was for the girls, but no girls were really responding or talking back.
Oh my god.
And what does it have to do with anything? Like,
It was just out of
Yeah.
nowhere. It was one of her spontaneous conversations about her life. She was treating just like another, oh guys, I went to the shopping mall today. She was just treating her periods like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like, didn't
Like,
ask
that's
didn't
not-
ask anyone before talking about it. It's like, why
And
would you
that
just
is,
bring
like-
it up out of nowhere?
And that is such like a great way to segue into like one of like the biggest things that really like ruined my perception of her. If it's like okay to talk over, if you need to say anything, Aster.
No, continue.
Okay, so what really made me like completely pissed off at Gray for like the rest and started making me like actually like despise her and truly broke all the walls down was there was a whole another conversation going on in that group chat where I think it was Quant mostly who was opening up about some like personal stuff with like her family and shit like that was going on, or like some like past shit that went on. And it was kind of like a whole conversation like everyone was like kind of getting involved in somewhat. And so I was a part of the conversation. Now keep in mind there were only like 10 people in the group chat at most. And there were only like 3 people really in the conversation actively. Me, Quant, and then like one other person. So after Quant had opened up like that, I was like, okay, well, it's been over a year. I trust a lot of these people enough. So I decided to open up about the toxic relationship that I had gotten out of like soon before I had met Gray initially. And I opened up about a lot of the shit that went down, and it was a very vulnerable time for me. And there was one part of it where I had to get a little bit TMI about some like sexual stuff that happened between me and them. But before I got to that bit, guess what I did? I properly warned everyone, asked if it was okay for me to talk about a little bit of 18 plus TMI stuff, and then when I sent that stuff, guess how I handled it? I put a giant, in all caps, TMI warning, and then spoiled the entire bit that was TMI. That's how I handled it. And then after that was done, everyone else's reactions, like Quant's and the other persons, were pretty normal. They were all like giving their like, oh, I'm so sorry you went through all that, just normal stuff. Normal ways to respond to someone opening up about like a traumatic relationship they had in the past. What Gray immediately responded with, Gray just kind of been silent the entire time, and then randomly chirped up, only to tell me to not share TMI stuff like that. She pointed out specifically the TMI stuff, and yelled at me to not share things like that again because that is highly inappropriate. And this was after she had talked about the periods thing, so I was sensing the hypocrisy already, and I was feeling like shit because I just was very vulnerable in front of just a few people. Not really many people were reading that, and one of their immediate responses was to bash me and tell me to shut the fuck up. So yeah, I was not taking too kindly to that, but again, because disagreeing with Gray was a cardinal sin, I simply just obliged. I was extremely upset, and I just deleted the thing after saying sorry, and I just quieted down, like, completely. And then I complained about it, like, very privately to, like, Quant and, like, 2 others.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, yeah, it was really, like, hypocritical and messed up. I don't like that.
Yeah, so notice how there is a vast difference in how me and her handle TMI stuff, yet no one says anything about her, like, talking about TMI stuff. 2 minors, by the way. Meanwhile, I was talking about that stuff to other minors, while I was a minor at the time, mind you. And I was actually handling it well. I was hesitant on sharing it, I was asking if everyone was okay with me sharing it, and even when I was given the okay to do it, I still covered it so that people who didn't want to see it could not see it, and even included a TMI warning. Gray included nothing, just said for the girls. That's all.
Ew.
Is insane level hypocrisy, and it is what like really just drove me super far away from Gray.
Yeah, like holy fucking shit.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah. What was the next point I was going to get into? Before I get into this next point, I'm gonna talk to audience really quickly. I'm gonna talk about something Guts did back then.
Right.
However, please do not put like too much blame onto them for this, because this was still a point where Gray heavily manipulated people. So if you guys want to get into the server you guys made away from Gray and how she weaponized Guts to get recordings of it.
Right, that. So Quant's got mute for a bit, but I can talk about this. I also want to clarify, do not hold any of this against Guts. Do not bash them for anything that is said here. I hold no anger or any negative intent to them. This was so far in the past, and I understand that they were still like very much under Gray's thumb. So I do not blame them at all. I do not hold any malice intent at all. So please do not send any harassment to them. Do not blame them at all for any of this. I hold no ill will to them. Quant doesn't hold any ill will. None of us in the mod team hold any ill will towards them now for that. For whatever is about to be talked about.
Yeah, we do not hold any ill will towards Guts. We are just solely stating this to show how Gray weaponizes people.
Yeah. It was a very different time. Yeah.
Just complaining about
so I guess I can now talk about the private server.
Yeah, let me read what Quant said really quick. She's complaining about a bunch of stuff, and we all went invisible because we didn't want to handle it all ourselves. That's completely fair, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the situation where like the whole thing with Guts happened. So, and I'll get into that in a sec. So there's this other server that was made by one of the mod members, and it was basically what it was meant to do was to just give the people who are like mods or like close to the mods, it's to give them a place to talk away from Gray, because things had just gone so bad with the constant drama to the point where like we needed to make a whole entire separate server just to talk to each other regularly, because it would not take long for Gray to like interject with some drama, or like we just wouldn't have the freedom to talk about whatever we wanted because there were so many like limitations on what we could talk about, and like we would constantly get lectured if we talked about stuff that was like too inappropriate. It was very restricting in Gray's server, and very just like kind of authoritarian. So that server was made to just separate like a lot of us. We would still like talk somewhat in the Fleetway server, but that after that was made, that would be where we would all like mainly talk, because we would have the freedom of like not really a lot of drama from Gray and no like interruptions. And also just freedom to like do whatever we wanted. So if a whole separate server had to be made, that kind of tells you something about like how bad things had gotten with Gray.
Yeah.
So yeah. Is there anything else to talk about besides the incident with Guts? I don't think there's much to talk about besides the incident. I guess there's like one thing, but it's pretty small. It's just another thing of like Gray yelling at us because we were being like stupid kids. but it's kind of like a long story and it doesn't really mean much. Like essentially, in that server, we would play like these silly games where like you would use your birthday to get a situation from like images that would be provided. Um and on some of these they would make like inappropriate jokes and we would like laugh at them a lot to ourselves. And this eventually did get brought to Gray's server where Gray could see this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know if this specific one did get brought to Gray's server. Might have not. But jokes were starting to be made about one of the scenarios that I got. So it was it was a Smash Bros. One. Yeah, it did teach us a lesson about the kind of jokes that we should make. It, that one image had a not a very choice option where like whoever had this certain month, which was mine, they would get the fruit rape by whatever character the day would be. And so I got that option with Pikachu, and at the time we all found that insanely hilarious. Yeah, it was jokes about SA. At the time we were all like stupid and young, so we were like 13 to 15. We didn't know what were good jokes to make, and there were barely like any adults within like the group. So we would make those jokes, and then eventually, those would get brought up. And unfortunately, one time it got brought up around Gray, and almost immediately Gray got extremely pissed off and brought like pretty much everyone from the mod team into a call in the Fleetway server. So like everyone was able to see that we were all like in a call, and she just yelled at us for like an hour or so about like how those jokes were not like okay and just like making us all feel like shit. So was just another way that she like lectured us. Yeah, terrible jokes to make, and like definitely don't support that we were all making those jokes back then, but we have changed. Just yeah, while it was correct, she still talked to us like we were adults being malicious when we were just kids being stupid.
She brought this.
Like,
she brought that situation up to me too. It was like, oh, Star, my team was talking about. I had to knock some sense into them.
Oh my god.
And I made one of them cry.
That shit.
Yeah.
Yep. She made some of us cry for that. I think I might have been one of the people to cry, but like I think multiple of us cried probably. I just remember like a lot of yelling. So, but again, I kind of like repressed that memory like a lot because like it was far from a good time. So
yeah, she brought up something
that
like people die from this stuff,
People die from this stuff.
Themselves because you think that's funny.
Yeah, that's the shit that she would say. Besides like just a lecturing, she would like guilt us with shit like that. We're like, oh, people die from that stuff, right? People really suffer from that stuff like that. Like just shit like that. Just like make us feel like extra shit.
Yeah, she does
like,
that.
And mind you, there were still some like full-grown adults in there, and she was talking to them like she was their mother. Like she was talking to all of us like she was our mom, and like a very angry one. And like, girl, you're like a 30-year-old woman, stranger on the internet. Why are you talking to us like that? And she did that a lot, just even for like smaller things. That was like the biggest example of where it was like the most justified. But even for like small things, she would yell at us like that for. A lot more privately, not like in that big of a group, but she would yell at us like a lot more privately for shit like that.
Yeah.
Like the lesbian spirit joke, or again, the me sharing TMI stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oftentimes it would just be a lot more like one-on-one kind of yelling, but it would still be like in front of other people when she would yell at us. So, kind of public shaming type of thing. But yeah, about the other story, the one with Guts.
Yeah.
So this was at a time, I think, where things with Gray and Chris, aka like Chaos of the Protectors, we're getting Antivaria, we're getting into like some really bad drama. And a lot of shit was going on, but like at the time, this was like at a point where like a lot of us were just like getting really tired of the constant drama. So a lot of the mod team, we were in like a VC with Gray before, but like things were just going on for so long, things were getting so stressful for us that like we all just kind of like collectively agreed to like leave and just hang out in that server in like a separate call and just like go offline and just pretend that we just all like had to go because we were just tired. We were all like a bunch of teenagers who were already dealing with enough shit, and it had gotten to a breaking point where we just needed a break. We just needed a break. Um, but how Gray found out about this is Guts was in the server at the time and noticed that we were all still in VC. Don't know what happened in the VC in the Fleeway server while we were like in the other one. But eventually Guts joined the VC that we were in and just kind of acted like everything was normal. But we were all like kind of complaining about like Gray and how much she constantly gets into drama and how it was all really tiring of all of us. So but unknown to us, the entire time that Guts was in that call, they were actually like recording the entire thing. They were recording our voices, they were recording the entire call, just for like a good like hour or so, or like almost an hour. And eventually they left, and then they showed it all to Gray, and then Gray proceeded to bash the ever living hell out of us, and it caused a massive divide in all of us. Gray got super pissed,
I want to mention
and said
this
how
was
like
worse than the stuff about like us making jokes about bad things.
yeah, this was like
This
a
was
worse
worse
lecture than
that.
like us making like jokes about that, about bad stuff. And
Disproportionate.
it it and like I said some things that I shouldn't have to Guts, and I have apologized for that. I got really mad with them and just cussed them out. I'm sorry for that. It was stupid of me to like do that, but like they still like betrayed, they still like stabbed us in the back, which again, just a quick disclaimer, hold no ill will to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in the current time.
no.
That was a different time. That was
It
like
was a
5
different
years ago.
time. People were being manipulated by Gray. So
Yeah,
like hell, I've
Guts was
said
still
shit.
very much
I've
under.
said shit back
Yeah.
then when I was manipulated by Gray.
Bless you.
When I was manipulated.
That was very much a time where Guts was very under Gray's thumb. And so I hold no ill will towards them now, but back then it very much split the group a lot. We got insanely lectured by it, and eventually it led to like a lot of the group just like splitting off, with like the mod team kind of splitting off from Gray.
The Pangea.
Yeah, and it took like months for things to like slowly like kind of go back to normal, where we would like kind of be trusted back. But that's kind of like what kicked off Gray choosing to only have people who are like 18 plus as her mods. It was not
Except for
anything like getting
yeah,
except for Quan. Quan was like the one exception. There was like and Blurry and Guts, sorry. And Gus, who was like the same age as Quant. Both of them were still very young minors, but both of them still very easily kept their mod roles. Despite the now 18 plus only rule for mods. And so so it wasn't to do anything with like her getting called out for like being weird towards any kids. No, it was just because like a bunch of kids kind of like were getting tired of her drama being constant and just wanting a break from that. yeah, and of course, since we were all a bunch of kids, we did not know the best way to handle this, and of course, Gray doesn't really like it when people disagree with her, so we couldn't really say, can this like not? Can't we just like put this on like pause or something? It's like too much for pretty much all of us. We were not okay to say that because Gray was just breaking down, crying, trying to again talk to a fucking brick wall. Like nothing was being received, and it was just a mess that we just were too tired at that point, too mentally tired to be involved with anymore. Um,
Mhm.
and so like about like a month or a few afterwards, I of course gave in because I was a dumb kid who just wanted to be friends with everyone at the time. So I gave in, apologized to Gray and Guts, and slowly I was kind of the one to bring everyone back and get Gray to apologize to everyone else. Since I was kind of the first one to give in, I'm just gonna say I'm sorry to everyone for doing that. I am very sorry for dragging you guys back in. But yeah, we were hoping for things to change, and things just kind of didn't. But now we were all like way more scared of saying anything negative to her because of just how much we had been lectured.
Mhm.
So, and this was like in early 2021, so that kind of set the precedent for like everything that was going to go on for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, I think that's it.
yeah, and I'm gonna ask for the record. Do you guys feel like you were significant grooming victims, or has she attempted to groom you guys in any way? Do you feel like that has occurred?
You go first, Tristan.
Um, for me, it's tough to say. I don't fully know if I can say that or not. I was definitely like emotionally manipulated to like think certain things. Hence, case like hating my parents a lot. And just being really scared to disagree with this random stranger on the internet. I was very like manipulated, but I don't know if I was like exactly like a groomed victim. Like there might have been like an attempt back when I was back in like that call, that Gmail call when we first met when I was like 13 and she was like 29 or so, maybe 30. Uh, very big age gap, and yet she still like proceeded. She had known of my age, like I did tell her my age in the chats, but she still proceeded to go into a very long call with me and continue the conversation. And she would say weird things about it, like after everything had happened, like while we were like in like the middle of like 2021 or so. She said some really weird things. There's like a screenshot for it. But she mentioned how like I ratted her out to my parents, kind of like a teasing, like, haha, why did you do that? And
Hmm.
it's like looking back, that's a really weird thing to say. Like, why
Indeed.
is like a 13-year-old just being honest with their parents that they are talking to a random grown adult on the internet? Why is that like a kind of bad thing? Like, yeah, it was like mostly a joke, but like it was still a very, very weird and like not okay joke to make. So, and like she thought I was still like 17 at the time until like I did tell her my age. But even then, even after I told her my age that I was like 13, um, she still proceeded to try to be all like super friendly with me, super like sweet, and just I think she was already giving me nicknames at the time. So again, starting strong even after knowing that I was 13. Um so
Hmm.
maybe there was an attempt back then, and maybe after the months in between
And
then and me joining the server something changed. I don't fully know, but
and
I don't have any definitive proof, so I can't say for certain.
fair enough. But didn't she like I remember in our talks, didn't she call you mature for your age?
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you for reminding me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the call, I don't have any like screenshot proof of this because again, the chat's gone, and I'm pretty sure this was said like in the call that we were in, but back in like the Gmail call, I don't fully remember how she worded it, but I do know for a fact, you can take this with a grain of salt if you want, but I know that for a fact she says something along the lines of how I was very mature for my age. I don't know if she said that I sounded mature for my
Was it
age. I don't know if
like
she acted like I was mature for my age.
was it like I thought you were older when I first met you. You're very mature kind of thing.
Yeah, it was very much like that, but like she definitely said that like I was very mature for my age. Keep in mind, while I was 13, and she was like almost 30
Yeah.
in a private call. That's definitely not an okay thing to say, and looking back was extremely weird.
Yeah. Like,
So
even though like you can't say for certain from like the things I've been hearing, that's definitely somewhat of her attempt to emotionally groom and manipulate on her end.
Yeah.
yeah, there was an attempt. There was probably an attempt back when I was like 13 when we had first met, but again after the months, she had like different targets now, sort of, or just had lost
Yeah,
interest.
she just like swaps to different targets. That's the thing she usually does.
Yeah, because we had just lost contact for like months. So I don't know. Maybe there was an intent back then. But I cannot fully for certain say that I was a victim of like for sure grooming. I just know that I was very manipulated and very hurt by her.
Tactics were
Like,
used.
Uh-huh. And
yeah.
what about you, Quant?
I would say it's something somewhat similar. Um, because I wouldn't say I am a victim of Grey because nothing like got its feet off the ground. But a lot of things were, said and done that were very just clear to me now, things that should not have been said and done, like, for example, the stuff with, turning the people against their parents, and, like, it was in my head, what was I gonna say? Give me a second.
Didn't she try to get you to move in with her like she did with Esther?
No,
Yeah.
I think she suggested it. She was like, "Oh, that would be great when you get the chance."
I mean, she
But
did that to a lot of
I don't
people,
know if it was ever
including
a legitimate
kids.
thing.
Yeah.
She did that with Guts, me.
Yeah, because
It's
I
kind of a
remember
different
me and Quan even had like
Yeah, it's kind of a different
me and Quan even
scenario.
had a conversation at one point about it.
It's kind of a different
Sorry.
scenario, but she's doing it with random kind of.
The point,
I don't fucking know.
yeah, the point of it is,
Yeah.
and I'll point this out directly for anyone who she is doing this to, so y'all better listen up. The point of doing something like that is to portray yourself as somewhere safe, a safe space, somewhere you can go to be like, oh, it's okay, I'll keep you safe, I'll house you. You got a place that's safe with me. And so it's not just like a online safe space, there's a physical place where she can then do what she pleases. So do not go to her house. I think that should go without saying, but if she says that to you, that is not a good thing. That is a
Yeah.
bad thing. And I want to make that abundantly clear.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I was a
And she has
victim of rape. I would say she definitely tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely, and I'll agree with you. There's definitely other people she attempted to like manipulate and like even
Yeah,
groom in a sense.
like down to stuff like saying, "Oh, the age gap is fine because I waited till like Aster was 18, right?" That is trying to sensitize the person you're talking to about it. Try and say, "Hey, this is okay, right?"
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
letting them figure it out for themselves, that's not a good thing. So, yes, there were definitely things, and more may come to me. I'll leave a comment on
Yeah.
the video if they do, but as far as I can tell, those are the main beats that I remember.
All right. I think my last
Yeah.
question is just like
So
like what led you to cutting Gray off and how did that go?
I guess, yeah, finally about time that I finally talk about what actually happened
Elephant
fully
number.
that day.
Mhm.
So fun fact, the day I left Gray was the same day that Guts had left Gray. But I was not mentioned that much I as we have stated.
Mhm.
So when Gray inevitably talked to Aster about it, she mainly just talked about Blurry because Blurry was like kind of the first one to go off on her, and I did it like afterwards. So what led to that was, of course, all the shit that I had said she had done to me personally before. None that stuff alone, everything that she had done to me alone wasn't exactly enough for me to break off from her completely. But what really tipped me over the edge and broke the last straw on the camel's back um, was when I finally figured out what she had done to Guts fully, and that adding up with what I learned of what she had done to multiple other close friends of mine. That was what really snapped me out of it and just snapped something at me. I was furious. So I then spent that afternoon making a a final message to Gray, finally explaining what all she has done to me, um, and why I am leaving for good, and also mentioning that she has like done things to our other friends, and that is completely shitty that she did those things. But I
Would
mainly
you
focused on like what she did to me because I didn't want to involve anyone else. I was going to send this big message, and the most I was going to get anyone else involved was just sending it in like a server with me, Gray, and a bunch of the mods, or like
it was
the
a
people
group
who were
chat,
part of the
wasn't it?
mod team. No, it was a server. It was like a big like
Oh,
server.
I must have
Um, yeah. So I spent that evening making a big message that is literally 6 screenshots long. Like that is how much I had to say to Gray about all that she had done to me, and very partially about what she had done to others because their stories were not mine to tell. I was not going to get them involved unnecessarily. Um, I was going to take the complete fall for everything because I just wanted my friends to be safe. And because I wanted them to be safe, I didn't want it to just be a thing that was said only in like my DMs with Gray. Although I didn't want it to be that big that I would send it like in her very public server, the Fleetway server. I didn't want to send it there because I didn't want it to blow up that much, and I didn't want to become one of those people that would get flamed immensely for it. And while I was talking to people about how to handle this, who did help me kind of review check the message, they said that me posting it very publicly like that would also just not be a very good idea because it would be like immature. So I still wanted the people close to me to know about what Gray had done and how kind of shitty of a person she can be, and how much she has continuously like harmed people all the way since like we had joined the server. Um, and so um, I did send it in that server with a bunch of the mods. And uh, yeah, after that, I had pretty much blocked Gray completely, and then the aftermath of that was just like for the next like couple of days, or like that night and like the next day, I spent like talking to like pretty much all the people there, kind of trying to damage control and also like better explain my side because again, I was kind of making that message in like a fit of like anger. So but I was still like just trying to get stuff out because like I was done. I just wanted everything to be done and to leave completely, but I didn't want to lose my friends. So I just spent a good long while trying to like keep the peace with them. Like I was going to separate from Gray completely, but I would still would have liked to remain friends with them, and I just wanted them to hear my side of the story. And I could try to find the image to like better the whole message to better like explain what all I said, but yeah, that's essentially like the whole situation of like what happened. I had talked to Guts prior to sending that message, because I was wondering why they left. And then they explained, the whole misgendering, total of like 30 times. And then among some other things, I didn't really know about the whole like grooming them and being really like really weird to them, but it was enough, along with like multiple other people getting hurt by her, that I was just done. I just need to get a huge message out. To clarify something about the message real quick, there is like a bit of it in like the third or fourth message, where I think it's the fourth one. But at the time, it was when I was mentioning the stuff about the VC where she shit talked online relationships and those kinds of talks. So at the time, I was dating someone else, and again, I was like halfway through being 15. I was very immature and very childish a lot. So I said some corny ass shit about getting virtually married to the person that I was dating at the time. Because again, I was just in the moment. I was saying a bunch of things, and
Yeah.
looking back, it makes me cringe to read. So just ignore that like little bit about me just being like, I'm gonna get virtually married, and bleh. It's
Ignore
it's
the
cringe.
the
And
childish parts because we were children.
yeah, just ignore the childish parts of me just being like a dumb kid, because like pretty much everything else is like my genuine concerns, at my genuine like problems with her. How like she will not stop bringing up drama, and anyone who dares to disagree with her gets blasted. And how she hurt me, how she had barely on how she hurt others, because again, just didn't want to involve anyone. um and how uh just just explain everything that she had done to me. So
Mm.
but
My
yeah,
The way
that's
I cut her off
what
was a lot
fully
more
went on back
simple.
then.
Mm.
The way I cut her off was a lot more
Go ahead.
simple. I saw Astra's video. I remembered, oh yeah, I never cut her off, and then I cut her off.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the actual point, the actual point where I stopped like being active though was, I think, somewhere around the time where, like, because the only reason I was really active in her circles after Tristan's big message was because I had friends in there, and I wanted
Yeah.
to see, like, maybe she'll get better. I don't know, and I wanted to keep things going, just give her a chance to be a better friend, uh, which didn't happen clearly. But
And
I think the reason I
I
started
was kind
like
of
lowering my
go ahead.
activity was because of all the stuff going on with Aster at the time, and I was like, it's a bit weird, and there's too much drama going on. I think I should probably just take a step back and just hang out with my more immediate friend group and try and handle my own life as it comes and goes. And
Mm.
that was when activity lowered and then eventually dropped to like once in a blue moon. And then I was like, oh yeah, I never left. I always meant to. And it was just a slow burn kind of thing for me. No big no
Yeah.
big moment.
And I will say I was a similar way. Like, after I had sent that message, like a couple days after, when I had like finally cleared my head, and was like in a much more like calm state after everything, I did admit at the time that like, if Gray had changed, I would have liked for things to try to go back to the way they were, because like I did miss how things were back in like 2020, when things were like all cool. Everyone was like chill with each other. There wasn't a whole lot of drama because Gray was still like a small YouTuber. So I really did want things to go back to the way they were, and I did really hope that like Gray would change. And I did admit that like if Gray ended up changing for the better and stopped getting involved in all this stupid drama and stuff like that, then I would give it a shot to try to like be friends again. It would take a lot, but like I was willing to be friends with Gray again if they just grew and changed and just stopped getting involved in drama. But that didn't happen, and instead she proceeded to groom a minor and get in even worse drama. And every update I heard for Kwan, like every year, it was just things had not changed. So
Yeah, no,
eventually,
it's
I
gotten
just
worse.
gave up
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Practically
I
any,
just gave up hope and just
practically
knew it that
any hope.
things would never change.
I mean, I know I'm not gonna sound like this saying this because usually I try to give people the benefit of the doubt that they can change, but at this point, she's not gonna change. If anything, she's only changing for the worse.
People change if they want to,
Mhm.
and she doesn't want to. A
Right now.
therapist told her, stop
Yeah.
talking to kids, this isn't good, and she stopped talking to that therapist. She doesn't want to change, so she won't.
Guys,
Yeah, which just puts
yeah.
more people and also kids in genuine danger.
Yes.
Okay, well,
Yeah. And she has been doing that all the way since 2020, like mid 2020, even a bit before that. So this has been going on for a very long time and it's never stopped.
yeah. Okay, well, I really want to thank you two for coming here, sharing your side of things. I really do
Well, thank you for giving me
appreciate.
the platform.
Yeah, and hopefully this shows people like that. Hey, it's not just me. She did pull this shit on. Is God knows
Also,
how many people.
I wanna say, like, yeah, I want to say this also shows that the more you try to silence someone, the more people are going to speak out. You
Mm,
just, once things have happened, you can't
Yeah.
undo them. You can't change history. So I think she should really just stop while she's ahead.
Mhm.
Get off the
yeah,
internet.
I was about to say, if
Yeah.
there's like any final messages
Let,
you'd like to put to Gray, out to Gray herself, because I know she's gonna watch this because she's parasocial as fuck with
Oh,
me.
yeah, absolutely.
also,
Yeah.
I was gonna watch
I
this.
have some messages, but Quant, do you want to go first?
It's tricky because you want to say everything, but you also don't want to say anything. So
Yeah.
I think mostly it's just to anyone who is still in her community, just get out. Just get out because things are only going to get
Yeah.
worse from here. It's a sinking ship. And
Yeah.
to Gray specifically, I know I don't believe you'll change, but it would be nice if you did. It'd be nice if you stopped doing these things, but you can't undo what you've done.
Mm.
You're already like the worst. You are the worst. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna get forgiveness for changing. And this, you can't squash this. You can't. You've said it out loud. It's on video. You've said out loud that you are attracted to minors. So stop trying. Stop fighting. Stop doxing people. Stop trying and give up because nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. And every time you try, you're only going to make things worse for yourself.
Mm, well put.
Yeah.
Very well put.
Yeah. And I guess some final notes from me is that like to anyone who's still supporting Gray, I'm just gonna say it. Just because someone overshares about their life to you does not mean you have to be completely loyal to them. And just because someone is your friend does not mean you have to ignore their shitty actions. If a friend of yours is doing something shitty, um, then you should have the common sense to be able to confront that friend and be able to just like say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. It is okay to disagree with your friend and to call them out when they are doing something shitty, like, being transphobic, uh, grooming a minor. When your
Grooming
friend is doing
people.
that, you do not have to go. You do not have to go to bat for them insanely hard. You really do not owe them that much. Gray is a stranger on the internet. Just please. I know a lot of people, like Mel specifically, are really good people. I know you guys are good people. Just please, for your own sakes, stay away from Gray. She is a dangerous person to everyone around her, and it is far from a good look for you to continuously defend her blindly. You have to look
Yeah, the
at
look of
other
that
sides
is a
for once. I know Gray likes to condition people to not look at any other sides besides her own, but please, I want this video and all the others to just serve as a wake up call to please know that Gray is a dangerous person and is not that good of a friend. She's actually quite a terrible friend, and
yeah. Even if
she
you
will not
can't change,
change
you can.
unless you hold her accountable. Like,
Yeah.
Gray has the chance to change, but she will not if you guys continue to do this. If you continue to defend her blindly and just give her everything that she wants, she will never change. Nothing will change for the better, and things will only get worse. This will only continue more and more. I did not want to get involved into any of this ever again. I had hoped that for the rest of my life, I would never have to think about Gray or any of their drama ever again. But things have gotten to the point where, unfortunately, somehow I got dragged back into everything and now have to say everything that happened to me and like some of my friends publicly. I now have to say it completely publicly. I didn't want to do that, but Gray's continuous refusal to change has led to that. And to Gray, I just have a few things to say. Get the fuck off the internet, for God's sake. You need to stop talking to minors. This channel is not everything to you. You have other things. There are many other things for you to do in life. There are many other opportunities for you to make money, to have a happy life. There are plenty of adults you could talk to. Go out into the real world. I am begging of you. You have refused to change for years upon years. You hurt me and many people alongside me, and you have not stopped hurting people. You will continue to hurt people unless you get some fucking help. So get off the internet for goddamn once, seek a therapist, and don't just turn away from them because they tell you not to talk to kids, and just grow and change as a person for once. This is bad. This is unhealthy for both you and everyone around you. Continuing this shit is not going to help anyone. You are not getting your channel back. You are not getting your subscribers back. Your reputation is in the grave. Let it rest. Just take your whole reputation shattering as a note that continuing to fight this is not going to work. You cannot backtrack from literally out loud admitting that you are having an attraction to minors. You cannot backtrack off that. And the more that you try to fight this and continue to do shitty things to people just because you disagree with them, the deeper shit you're going to get in. You need to learn that not every disagreeing opinion or negative thing on the internet, you don't have to respond to it. You need to learn that you don't have to respond. You don't have to keep doing this shit. So please, just for everyone's sake, get off the internet, learn when things are done, and just stop. Just leave everyone alone. You can try to reset maybe in like years later if you really want to, but this is not going to work anymore. It has not, and it is only going to get worse for you and everyone around you. Just stop. Go outside, get some help, and please do not talk to me or anyone that I am associated with ever again. I don't want to have to think about you for the rest of my life. I have tried to do that for years, and your continuous shit, stop that. So please, just stop. That's it.
Okay. I'm going to reiterate parts of my final message to Gray to end this off. And to her community and her friends as well. Leave while you can. Because Gray is not, as it stands right now, Gray is not changing, nor has changed. And she will continue to do this genuinely deplorable behavior. And to her friends specifically, I've seen that clip and you're wondering why I haven't held you guys accountable as well. It's because I want to give you guys the benefit of the doubt that you're being manipulated and to give you the chance to leave now. Because if you don't, and you continue to not just slander me, but to continue to defend an actual pedophile, because that's what she is, an actual fucking pedophile at this point, I will be holding you guys accountable as well, as much as I don't want to necessarily do that. Because what you guys are doing to defend an actual predator is not okay. Not okay at all. So please, hopefully with this, you guys can just see how much she uses and manipulates people. And just please leave her, because she's using you. That's the truth.
And
she's using you.
Yeah, like I said, she doesn't want to change from this. And she can't undo what she's done. But you haven't done those things. You can change. You can still get out of there, move on, and develop any way you need to, because you haven't done these like irreversible, like irreparable things. You haven't groomed people. You haven't done cyberbullying, like witch hunts. You haven't cyberstalked people. You can move on.
I mean,
from this.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it has gotten to that point where she has manipulated one person to doing that stuff. But
even then,
yeah, and like it, and despite all that, even if you for some reason still, despite all of this, want to continue being friends with her, fine, but just hold her accountable. If you are going to remain friends with her, realize that you have the right, as Gray's friend, to hold her accountable when she is doing things wrong. You look at both sides and know that it is okay to hold your friend accountable when they do shitty things.
Mm-hmm. And to Gray specifically, yeah, I know you're watching this because I know you fucking love to stalk me as much as you say, oh, that she's stalking me. No, it's literally the opposite way. Don't even try to fucking bullshit anybody. You can try. You can try to fucking change. And maybe people will forgive you. But I will never forgive you. I'll never forgive you for nearly bringing me to the point of myself. And it's not just side baiting either. I have the scars to genuinely prove that you brought me to the point of nearly myself. And I will never forgive you for weaponizing your friend. Weaponizing random. Just to say it. You're weaponizing random. There's no other way to fucking put it. And I will never forgive you for the shit you said about me, and the shit you said about my friends, and the shit you said about my own fucking family. And I'm gonna reiterate their points. Get the fuck off the internet and get help, because that is genuinely what you need. You need actual psychiatric help. There is no other way of putting it. The channel is not all you have, and even if you say it's your job, you can safely say from everything you've done, you've been fired from your job. Plain and simple. Get off the internet and get help.